Hey, hobby friends, your old pal Bo here, the only man on YouTube with a face for radio and a voice for print. Coming at you again a little bit late. There's some stuff going on the last week on the tube of views regarding the RPG community and lists of games, woke lists versus non woke lists, and companies we should be supporting versus companies we shouldn't be supporting, and it's all very negative. Um, like to talk a little bit about that negativity, and why I would prefer to talk about the game that I am playing versus the games that I should or shouldn't be playing. And I was talking about this, and there was a really good video by Total Party Skills really recently about lists and not lists, and he made a good point about, well, what if you don't play D&D? You know, this whole D&D left versus D&D right, or whatever the hell ever. I don't even give a shit anymore about this whole thing. And I decided that it would be better to promote games that I do play than talk about games that I don't play. And regarding the whole woke versus non woke thing, guess what, guys? It's still D&D. You know, whether you're playing OSR or 5e, you're fighting over D&D. And I'm to the point now where it's like two mules fighting over a turnip. I just could not be bothered. So, what I want to do for the next year, I guess, new year, new me. I mentioned earlier in some of the streams, and I mentioned in some chat with some of my friends online, some of my friends here on YouTube and in this community, that I am on a quest really for three things this year, for the coming year, for 2024, right? I would like to promote games that are, one, in print and available, games that you can find right now, and then games that have mechanics that I like. Because let's face it, guys, I'm done confusing nostalgia with quality. And that's really what it comes down to, right? The whole guys that are fighting over D&D, they're fighting over nostalgia. They're fighting over their perception of memory. It's guys that started, maybe they started with White Box, or they started with Red Box, or they started with Advanced Dragons, and they're fighting with the people that are playing either like Pathfinder 2e or 5e, D&D 5e, or any of the numerous uh, other D20 games, whether it's something that's, woke or not woke. And it really boils down to really the third point in this. I would prefer to give my money to people that don't hate me, but I'm not going to let that conflict with the first 2 points, right? I need a game that's available that I can promote on this channel, that I can use to bring new people into gaming, uh, and that has has mechanics that are good, right? I don't think that D&D's got mechanics that are good for a myriad of reasons. The whole class-based, level-based thing, it really irks me. I was having a conversation in the comments earlier, one of my earlier videos, about how a first level fighter is a first level fighter is a first level fighter, and one of the responses to that was make a different class. But why make a different class? Is it easier to make a class that's a fighter that can cast magic spells, or just to have him point by skills where he can have a person that can buy using a sword and then buy casting spells? It allows for more customization, and really it allows for less bloat in the long run. Because I think that more classes, more special abilities that are class based, it it further unbalances the game from a player perspective. And I do think that players should be balanced a little bit on the tabletop. And I think that a point buy is more fair for all the players. Okay. That aside, what am I promoting then? Well, I'm going to promote a game. I'm going to show you a game that you can get started today for free, right? You can get started playing GURPS Lite, GURPS Lite for free right now. You can go on to Steve Jackson Games and you can download the PDF. It's 20, 27, 28. It's 32 pages, including there's actually one page of ads on there. Kind of weird. For Dungeon Fantasy and for the GURPS Basic set. Dungeon Fantasy is another one that's on that list, but we're going to get to that later. Dungeon Fantasy powered by GURPS is a whole other game, and it's really what you should play if you want to play D&D but don't want to play D&D. Right? If you want to play a fantasy game and you want to play a fantasy game that's easy to pick up, that has templates that are status classes, and you can get started, with 20 minutes of character development instead of an hour of character development or whatever. That's the game for you if you want to play fantasy. Personally, I don't want to play fantasy anymore. In terms of that, I think that it's just become too contentious, too much of a hotbed. Not that science fiction hasn't. That's another video too. We're going to get to that eventually. But for you can raid, if you raid your board games for a handful of D6s, and you use 3 D6s for all of your skill checks, and then maybe 4 or 5 D6s for weapons damage, depending on what weapon you're using. If you're using like an artillery piece versus a slingshot, or if you're using a stiletto versus a claymore, it's still just how many D6s you need. So I think for my current GURPS game, which really used this for the first 6 months of the game or about, I think I'd use about 8 D6s in my die tray, maybe 10, but don't quote me. And I don't think I've ever used more than 5 or 6 at a time for like a laser gun burst. A laser gun is my 5d6. You don't need to have Warhammer 40k level of d6s. Although I think a lot of players do eventually, because let's face it, players collect dice, right? So, but instead of collecting, d20s, I've got maybe, like I said, 10 or 12 double d6s in my dice tray, and that's, if you want to check out double d6s, they do great. But that's a ramble. So what have I got here? This is game copy. This is my game copy I use for quick references. I've got some notes, some annotations, and it's got everything that you need to literally start playing. Weapons, shields, simple lists of skills, advantages, and disadvantages. It goes through the skill cost table, and this is the same skill cost table from the regular game. So I've got it highlighted and marked, and this is a great way to get started. This and a handful of D6s, guys. If you're new to role playing, if you want to sit down and play a game, but you don't know which one to play, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, that's what I'm going for. Again, I want to get more people playing games in 2024. More people playing role-playing games in 2024. This one's got all you need, and then I also printed off a copy of the GM screen. And again, I've got a note that says game copy here. So I've got my notes in a flat, like a little fruit flat that I picked up at Costco when I was loading my groceries. And it fits 8.5 by 11. It'll fit some books in it. And when I get down on Friday night to play the game, I take it out. I put it at my computer desk where I play over Discord. And I've got my dice tray, and I've got that, and I've got the books, and I've got a bookshelf behind me with a whole shelf of GURPS books if I need more references. Mostly sci-fi, but I've got most of the 4th edition hardcovers. But again, that's because I've been collecting those over the course of a year. I started 2023 with almost no game books, because I hadn't had any game books since about 2000 or thereabouts, when all of my game books disappeared. They all went away. So I had to start over from scratch. And okay, let's talk about the list. Steve Jackson Games they've put the foot in their mouth from a lot of gamers' perspectives in the last year, maybe even before, part of that October surprise with the Hillary Clinton presidential election. But none of that stuff is in GURPS Lite. You're not going to find any references to consent rules or pronouns or telling you how to play or you should play with. There's no politics in this game. There's no politics in GURPS Lite. You can sit down. You can add them if you want. Again, the first rule of hobbying is your hobby your way. And just because I don't like OSR, because I don't like Dungeons and Dragons, I love OSR creators. I love Venture Satanis' stuff. I love Pundit stuff. I've got their stuff on my bookshelves. I use it. I read it. I've been reading through Visible College right now. I'm reading through Chalt right now. But I'm not going to use their mechanics in my game. I'm going to use this for the mechanics for the most part, and then add things back in. Why GURPS Lite? Well, like I said, it's 30 pages. It's 30 pages with no art, guys. It's 30 pages of double and triple column. It's easy to read. It's easy to notate. It's easy to explain to other people. It's easy to teach yourself how to play. If you're going to teach yourself how to play a role-playing game, this is how you do it. The DM screen, which you can also get for free with a Google search, GURPS GM screen, damage tables, fatigue points, fright checks, which is like the equivalent of a morale check in other games, success probabilities, defense modifiers. This, you could print out the combat cards. Again, you could print those out for free. Rate a couple of D6s out of your board games, or go down to your local game store and buy some D6s, or ChessX or Amazon or Coplow or Game Science or double D6s. Again, no sponsorship, but I've got a big wad of double D6s. It's a D12 sided die with 1D6 on it twice, right? Freaking, it's phenomenal. Rolls really well on your dice tray. Looks cool on the tabletop. You get them in a ton of colors because I know that role-playing gamers love colored dice. All right, I'm going to keep this video under 15 minutes. I'm going to be painting this week. I'm going to do some more painting, get another painting video. I would like to showcase one mini, actually. Look at my 6-year-old son painted this yesterday, day before yesterday. And I set up the wet palette for him. But yeah, 6 years old. I showed him how to thin out the paints a little bit. We used a lot of pre-thinned paints. Don't have to worry about thinning it out. We used some Pro Acryl and I think some speed paint. But yeah, if a 6-year-old can turn out, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Am I going to repaint over it? No. So if you remember one of my previous videos, I showed where he painted a sister, and that was typical thick globbed on paint. But yeah, 6 years old. I'm going to make that my thumbnail. There you go. Short, sweet, to the point. GURPS Lite, free. GURPS GM screen, free in PDF form. GURPS combat cards, free. I'm hoping that in 2024 we're playing more games, and I'm going to promote again. I'm going to promoting a game that I play. I don't care what list it's on right now. I don't care what anybody says about it. As long as this game is clean, GURPS 4th edition is clean, I'm going to keep playing it. Lists be damned. Because it's a better game. It's a better system than any of the ones I'm playing now. I want to promote games. I want to promote games that are easy to pick up, easy to play, and in print, right? A game's got to be in print. I know a lot of the old timers, and me included, love to play games that are out of print. But if I want to get new people at a tabletop playing games, and if we want to provide any kind of competition to the 800-pound gorilla in the room, we've got to promote games that are available and easily available either online or at your local game store or your local bookstore. All right. I'm going to get some more painting done this week. We're going to have our typical game on Friday. I'm going to go do some prep for it today. I am starting a new job on Monday, so I don't know how much I'll be available on the Tube of Views. But as usual, you can reach me through the comment section, or you can email me at bowpaintsminis@gmail.com. I wish you peace for the new year, and I do hope that you get some gaming done. Check out GURPS Lite. It's a role-playing heavy game. It's not nearly as crunchy as GURPS' reputation is for. And I bid you peace.